Hey guys, I'm just gonna make a really big commentary right now. Anything that I said earlier regarding my with my parents' will and stuff, that is actually in conjecture. Honestly, I wanted to make that clear. It is conjecture, not fact. My parents do not, I don't think they'll be passing anytime soon, and honestly, my family is not, I don't believe my parents are ever going to really give money to my nephew in the hopes of anything, because I know that, the situation is weird. Hey! I would rather have a teriyaki personally. FYI, if you want to know the whole thing with, what's going on with my group of friends, currently, I'm not really sure, honestly, I don't. But I do want to make one thing very clear. People in my fan base friend group, which FYI, I really don't really like talking to people about it, but if you are ever part of a group of friends, I used to be friends with a group of kids back when I was in high school, and these were kids who used to pick on me a lot, so I wasn't exactly fond of them, but I was also not the person that I am today, where I am a bit cynical. But one of the things is my I'm gonna make a comment about the thing about with my sister's ex-husband is, does he actually know I have money? Actually, he does. He knows I'm gonna inherit a lot from my parents, but he also knows that I have my own life, so I don't really want to deal with the drama, but I also don't want him to understand that I don't feel obligated to help people as much as he thinks, because the people that are involved in my life aren't people I want to be dealing with, particularly since one of the people involved in some of the groups, like sisters that were friends with me, is somebody I really don't think he would understand why I do not associate with these people, because my own issue with the fan base of people that I don't know. The only reason I don't hang out with those people is because of what they did to my friend, but not to mention the fact that the person involved is a known pedophile, so I don't think that anyone in my group of friends would actually call my sister's ex anything, really, and I'd be surprised if he actually went ahead and talked to these people, because my ex would my issue with that guy is that he followed me to a fandom that he seriously should not have been part of, and he also should not have attempted to curtail his, yeah, that issue was that he, yeah, that issue is really dicey considering that the person involved has a history, and I don't think my sister's ex would really profit much from it, because so, yeah, I don't know. The issue I had with my ex-boyfriend was that the kind of thing that he was concerned about was the manipulation, but one of the things I was going to mention is, I finally got my full side of the story on Reddit regarding what happened with Weeaboo Billy. Now, the truth is, everything I wrote on there was as much as the truth as I could remember. I had to consult with a couple friends of mine regarding it, but apparently Weeaboo Billy manipulated a lot of people into believing that he has changed over the years, when that is definitely not the case. He, quite frankly, did not change. He, in fact, got much worse and has pretty much lied, stealed, and cheated his way through things. To be quite frank, I would say half the fan base at the convention base right now is either going to believe him or not. Majority have not believed him, which is a relief for me. But the relief is short-lived, considering what he could have done to make things worse for me. One of them is the fact that I still refused to admonish him or be friends with him. Honestly, people have called me names because of that, but it isn't as if that situation could have been resolved any other way. The problem is the people involved allowed him that much access and weaponized his disabilities. With disabilities, like learning disabilities like mine, I'm able to control my situation much more readily than he can. But the manipulation runs much deeper when you realize the person involved could easily turn that on your head and you're sitting there going, oh my fucking god. He could turn me into that. But it didn't turn out that way. But it turned into the manipulation that could have gotten worse. But honestly, I don't think the fan base at this time is the problem. But after all these years, Nandasa-kan and all that has turned into such a shitstorm. I don't really think there is much you can do about it, other than just sit there and take the damn abuse. But when you realize that now people are really way below level on that one. So okay. Well, I'm gonna go back to Foundation, and we're gonna do that. So, anywho, what I'm going to be mentioning in the next hours is... Yes, I am gonna make this clear that, yes, if I do inherit things, my mother is probably going to remove my nephew from the will, but it's more for that she would rather do that than spend the entire time just pretending to remember him. But the truth is, my nephew probably will never remember us. He's probably got a huge plethora of cousins and on Branhan, and we'll be fine. I honestly don't think anything will be bad for my nephew for the rest of his life. I think I don't really see a problem with the fact that we're just not gonna be in his life. What I will say is, I don't really think his dad's gonna be upset at me for doing this, but taking the money that would probably go to him and putting it in a trust where my nephew will not get access to it until such times we feel he is able to get access is perfectly fine. I'm sure his dad is not gonna argue with us over that kind of behavior, considering it's perfectly legal and perfectly fine. It isn't about manipulation, it is about being able to hold forth the entirety of the fact that I can do that. But also the fact is that I am not trying to manipulate anybody. And since my entire idea is that it is just going to be the fact that I'm leaving the money in trust, but I'm going to be making it a lot harder for, say, my former brother-in-law to actually get any control over the spending of the money. But also the fact I'm just going to tell him flat out that this is how it's going to work, then you have no say. And that it is my money that I will spend any way I choose, but I also will be ensuring that the money goes into an account and will be taken care of. The only issue that I'm probably going to end up with is the fact that my sister's ex-husband is probably going to think I'm manipulating the situation. But if I'm manipulating the situation, it's to my advantage. It isn't going to be toward their advantage. Because I really would rather not have to do that. But, again, it is the burden of proof that I need to remind them that I am not going to take it lying down. I am going to make sure I hold most of the power. And that is the one thing that I know as a human being, I don't have to trust people. I have never trusted people that well. And it's not as if my sister's ex-husband doesn't know that. He knows I don't trust people. He also knows I'm not stupid. So he knows I won't use the money to buy anything for myself other than maybe pay bills. Other than that, I'm just not interested in anything that can be construed as a bad thing, but I am going to make it extremely difficult for him to function trying to get money from my family. And it has very little to do with the fact that I am a very shrewd and tired person. But I'm also very shrewd and manipulated person at the same time. I was manipulated by people who used me and threw me away when things were convenient. But when I decided to not take that, I became the more uninterested or disinterested party who could make problems in the future for some people. But that's because I know one thing that has always been an issue for people, and that is when Morella was alive, I didn't exactly get along with everybody. But I also was very cold and calculating. On most scales of believability, I do not believe 90% of the faith of people because I had zero faith in them. The situations that people put themselves in to convince me to be their friend is very, very downtrodden. I don't think anyone has ever really asked me what I think or how I feel about things. What I do know is I don't try to manipulate the situation any further than how I feel it should be drawn out. But I do think that it is very simple to tell a person that I don't trust you. If you don't trust the person, then the idea that they are not trusted becomes much easier to follow. I mean, to be quite frank, I don't believe for a minute that my sister's ex-husband's going to ever understand that he won't be able to talk about the whole how I'm not a, intellectual person, but yet when I tell him that I am not interested in dealing with money, I have no interest in being I don't have an interest in manipulating people. But what I do think is, it's not manipulation if you tell the truth. And that is one thing that I remember people thinking, well, I'm sure that it won't be a manipulation if you tell the truth. But for me, telling the truth also means one other problem. And that is admitting when you actually have somebody wanting you to do something you do not agree with. And that is a problem I have from the very start with the Colorado anime community. I don't agree with 90% of what they do, but they do it anyway, so I just sit there and smile and nod. I don't manipulate a situation. I watch and observe it. And then I later just sort of make my own commentary on the idea that maybe these people aren't worth my effort of understanding it. They want what they want. They don't want somebody who thinks and feels on their own. They want somebody they can manipulate, talk down to. Something that I know for a fact that I may not have the silver spoon in my mouth type of mentality that my nephew's father grew up in. But what I do have is a understanding of the common sense attributes that my friends used to have when I was in high school. And that was because I didn't manipulate the situation to where they got what they wanted out of me. I manipulated it to the point where I could get a situation out of my hands and into something else. But the truth is, the fan base of anime nerds that I used to be around didn't care if they hurt somebody. They only cared about popularity and cared that they would not be manipulated. But the problem is, they did manipulate people. And to the extent they manipulated my sister and myself into thinking, oh, well, darn, what kind of people are we that we allow ourselves to become the ones who are the paradox of the community? But here's the thing, I didn't manipulate the situation. The situation manipulated itself into existence. But I kind of understand where people like, say, Weeaboo Billy would probably think I was being the manipulator. But again, this is a person who is a noted pedophile trying to make a square fit into a circle, and the circle's too small. But out of all the things I've ever had to say, I usually would never manipulate the situation to where I did not control it. That is the one problem in the anime community. They don't like the fact that someone who doesn't have a disability can manipulate somebody into giving up being friends with somebody. The problem is, it isn't just me that this affects. It affects the fact that it just affects you in such an interesting and profound way. I've never understood how somebody in the Colorado anime community could get so offended over the fact that I could easily say that's not how those work. But again, that is up to them to ask the question, would it work? And the answer is no. Fandom is definitely cracked, but it's also cracked to the point that people have manipulated me enough times that I am completely zoned out of it. I mean, I've sat there reading a book, and the book says, this is about to happen. But when this does happen, and the prediction isn't 100% infallible, that is the one thing that I've always felt kind of was manipulation in my part. It is not a manipulation in the sense of the fan base groups I'm in. It is the that I don't believe I've ever really done anything wrong. I did say I did something a little out of character, but then again, I don't believe I've ever got caught doing something that could hinder or hurt my friends as much as it ever hurt to deal with the drama of a bunch of anime nerds who believed a lie. A lie that I always felt sort of akin to the irritating winter of my discontent, as it were. But knowing full well that the people that I am involved with are a bunch of fucking dim-witted idiots who kind of walk into a fan base and get upset when they get told, "I'm sorry, I don't believe you." But again, that is just the fact that I once walked into a fan base of oh yeah. Anyway. Oh, thank you. Alright.